It's just after 6 o'clock, and time for us to convene our regular meeting of the Kiowa Board of Directors on February 19th. The first item of business is for me to call the matter to order, which I do, and ask that everybody now stand and pledge allegiance to our flag.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a quorum. We have two absent members. Our secretary, Nancy Jackson, will be here momentarily. She said word she'd be a little late. Corky, being the assistant secretary, will take the minutes for that time. We do have a quorum. The next item is for comments for the record. I have these comments from writing, Corky, so you don't have to maintain them. But I do want to point out that sort of these comments for the record are sort of a personal privilege of the president, which I instituted last year, and gives an opportunity to speak to special efforts on the part of POA employees and others. One thing I've noticed is that the food, the drink, and the event service at the lodge seems to have taken a very sharp turn toward excellence, as evidenced by recent member comments and my own personal experience. The Valentine's Day event presented by the Friends of Lake Kiowa, for example, has been highly praised for outstanding food and service, not to mention the entertainment. And many favorable comments have been heard about the quality of the menu offerings, the daily specials, and the service at the lodge, something to which I can personally attest. So I offer kudos and thanks to Assistant Community Manager Jeremy Trich and Lodge Manager Karina Brower, as well as the kitchen and wait staff, and ask them to keep after it. This meeting is the last regular meeting for the class of 2021-2024 class of directors. Corky Cahoon, Nancy Jackson, and me are in that class, and so this will be our last meeting of the board of directors at the regular meeting of the board of directors. We will attend the required annual meeting on March the 9th, where new board members elected will be announced, as well as the vote results on proposed bylaw changes and all proposed projects, like the par 3 course and the front entrance. And I strongly urge all of you to attend the annual meeting on March the 9th. That's where I'll be giving, as outgoing president, a really outstanding, even mesmerizing presentation about the state of the community, and you don't want to miss that. I really was just sort of kidding, actually. So that concludes the comments for the record. And now I will open the floor to comments from any of the members present who care to make any comments regarding the matters that are before the board this evening. Anyone at all. And if you do have a comment, please indicate your name and your lot number, and Rich will furnish you with a microphone so it will be recorded. Anyone have any comments? All right, there being none, then the next item of business is to approve the minutes for the regular board meeting of January 15th, 2024. I presume that all members have received a copy of the minutes from Nancy, and I'll ask if there is a motion to approve those minutes for that meeting. All right, Corky, so moves. Bill Little seconds. Any comment or questions regarding the minutes that are part of the motion? All right, they're being done. All those in favor of approving those minutes indicate by raising your hand. All opposed? And we have one abstention. The next item then is our item number 7, our financial update by our awesome, he used that word, our awesome treasurer, Mr. Little. Okay. next slide, please. Okay, here's just a summary for January, and as you can tell, we had a really interesting month. Revenues were slightly under budget by $3,000. Expenses were under budget, which is good, by $95,000. And that gave us a net revenue for the month of $92,384 over plan. Interest income for the month was $8,131. All of that went into reserves. And of course, there were no lot sales. Next slide, please. Here is the lodge for the month. Revenues were under budget by about $6,735, and that was primarily food. Actually, I think it was actually evenly split between food and liquor. Expenses were well under budget by $25,000. So as you compare to budget, we were $19,215 above budget, but we actually lost $16,343 for the month in actual cash. Next slide, please. As I said, revenues were under budget by $3,040. They were pretty much across the board, actually. Green fees, building permits, lodge revenues, and sanitation fees were all under, mainly due to activity being less than what we anticipated. There was a sale of a mower very cut reel, whatever the heck that is. But we got 10,000 for it, so that's a good thing. So that all netted to the $3,040. Next slide. Okay, and then, like I said, expenses were under budget by $95,424. And if you look in there, what you're going to see that there's a whole bunch of salary expenses that were well under budget, and those are mainly some timing differences, but mainly empty positions. So that's something that Rich and the troops need to work on. Liquor supplies were under budget. We did get the 2021 federal tax return. We're still missing 2022, which is about $22,000. And the IRS is taking their sweet easy time getting it to us. And then property taxes were well under budget. We had forecasted that they would be 5% less than what we had last year, and actually they came in a little bit less than that. Next slide, please, sir. Here is the reserve funds for the month. The ARF reserve was up by $52,000. It did have one expense in it, $14,004 for boat dock renovations. CARF was up by $68.45, $8,000 for a privacy fence at the front entrance, and then $28,130 dam expenses, and there's many more to come. LMRF, the Lake Fund, had no expenses, so it was up by $21,755. CBRF was up by $550. That's interest income, and it had no expenses either. Delinquent accounts, the total is $58,718. Most of that is in over 90. There's 11 accounts in there, but it was actually down by 2115 from December, but that's in the 30-day column, not in the 90s. So we've got some real work that needs to be done there. Next slide, please, sir. Here are our cash balances for the month. We have total accounts of $4,188,230. Next. Here's the Ways and Means investment report. We renewed some CDs. Let me get that for you. We rolled over 2 CDs, one at 7.79% and 4.86 for 1-year CDs. We rolled over a T-bill at 4.69, which was down from 5.44 that we had it in there prior. One thing that we do need to work on is that we have too much uninsured money at First State Bank. So we need to work on that. So next slide, please, sir. And here's the popular economic indicators. National inflation was up 3.1% for the last year. And if you pull out food and energy, it was up 3.9%. Unfortunately, that looks good, except when you compare it to the DFW inflation index, which was up 5.3% over the last year. If you pull food and energy, it's up 6.2%. And we have the auspicious pleasure of being tied for second worst out of the 23 areas that the Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks. And the PPI was up 0.9% for 1 year. And that sort of tracks back to why national inflation is up. And that is the President Roach on President's Day is my approval. That's the most official time I'm going to hear that report, but I will be out there paying attention. And thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. The next item of business is to consider committee and business updates. And the first item on that, issue number 8, item number 8 of the agenda is to consider and take possible action to approve a donation of Joanne's Garden Club Memorial Bench. And Maureen Olsoni, would you like to speak to that?
Yes.
All right.
I met with the Parks and Rec Committee last September, and they gave us the approval to go ahead and choose out by the front gate, because that was the money that was raised was for the front gate improvement. So we have selected a spot out there for the bench, and now it's coming for you. Rich has said that you have to give us your approval. But just so you know, the bench is going to be here on Thursday.
All right. Can you tell us what what's going to be written on the bench?
Yes, I can. Just a moment.
Okay.
Come sit a while and enjoy.
All right, thank you. Did anybody have any questions of Maureen? All right, thank you very much. And maybe a discussion of the matter, Tom?
Is this in memory of somebody, or is it going to say that's all that's going to be on it? It's just it's the same. It's not like a memory kind of flag.
Well, from what I understand, Maureen is going to be dedicated. Is it just recognizing the Joanne's Garden Club? Is that what it's intended to do?
No, it's to recognize Joanne Smith,
Okay.
who was the lady along with her committee that enhanced the front gate several years ago. But the bench is going to go along the walkway between the entrance and the exit, because we know that down the right side as you come in, there's going to be renovation done.
All right, there, you have a question?
Yeah, John, as noted, the Parks and Recreation Committee did meet with Maureen, and this originally came to the donation committee, who approved it. It came to us. We had Rich evaluate this and had met with all the criteria as far as Parks and Recreation. Location wise, we gave Maureen an opportunity and that group an opportunity to pick a location. So it has met all the criteria.
That's all your question really wasn't answered. So question was, as I understand, is whether or not we dedicated to an individual. Is that what your question?
Yeah, and I was the bad guy last time when something like this came up. We had great group of people who wanted to donate a very nice in remembrance, sign out of rock. I can't remember the gentleman's name, he was a fisherman.
Dunstein.
Yes, sir, and we have specific guidelines in our rules and regs or bylaws, I forgot whatever it is, that designate, how we put things in the community. And the discussion was last time that we have a very specific set of rules, and if that's gone by these rules, I'm not gonna get in the way again and get yelled at. But I think the big discussion last time is we don't want a plaque on every tree, a rock on every corner, because we have a presence to maintain. But so as long as it meets all the requirements of what we held other people to meet, I don't have a problem.
It does.
Excuse me, but the bench,
Just one second, Marie.
Sure.
Would you give her a microphone? Very well.
The bench has no dedication on it. There'll be no sign on it.
That's what I was asking. Richard.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just wanted to clarify that. Because that was one of the things that was definitely to make sure that we didn't do that.
Thank you. Is there any motion to accept this donation in the manner in which it's been presented? Larry, you so move, and a second,
Yeah, I so move.
and Tom seconds. Any statement, conversation, or questions you may have about this item? There being none, then all in favor indicate by raising their hand. All opposed, motion carries, and that donation will be accepted. The next item of business is the Kiowa Women's Club request for the approval of funds for a Lake Kiowa 10-year history book. Jennifer Monda.
thank you.
Is this meeting when this agenda item's done, you're gonna leave?
Probably.
Okay.
Here, come on up.
Go ahead, please.
Some of y'all on the board might not have lived here long enough, but we did have history books. And if y'all will show these history books, this was the very first one back in let me go back in here. Well, 1967 through 1977 was the very first book. This is our one that was the past 10 years, and now we're due for the next 10. So Mary and Beatty, let me just go ahead and go through and introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Monda. I'm here with a very special ladies on behalf of the Kiowa Women's Club and the 2014-2024 Lake Kiowa History Book Committee. KWC President and my committee co-chair, Mary Beatty, Debbie Barnett, the current KWC President, Sandy Hare, second Vice President, and Sherry Demarest, our historian. I am a past president and current KWC parliamentarian. The Kiowa Women's Club is preparing to publish the 5th edition of the Lake Kiowa History Book, covering the years of 2014 to 2024. As has been our practice in the past, a committee of KWC volunteers have been appointed to monitor the creation and publication of this history book. Miriam was one of the authors of this last 10 years book, which is absolutely beautiful. The first 10-year history book was written, the first one, which is the red book, by Ennis Rhodes, a past KWC president, who reported the history of our lake from 1967 to 1977. In the interest of historical preservation, KWC once again finds it a privilege to continue to document the considerable growth and changes in the Lake Kiowa community. Each history book includes information on POA, service, special interest, and social groups that we have at Lake Kiowa. Each book also includes a summary of the books before it, giving a look into the past and providing the opportunity to be impressed by how this best-kept secret is alive and well for those who gave their time, energy, and financial help to the spirit of volunteerism. To publish the first 500 books of this new, much-anticipated history book, the Kiowa Women's Club has requested donations from the POA in the amount of $4,500.
basically $4,492.44. A book that benefits those that live here, once lived here, and to those looking forward to also living here. Thank you. So that is our request, and as I said, this is kind of what our book looks like this year. Last year, excuse me, the last 10 years. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Yes, does any of the members of the board have any questions? Has this already been written, Jennifer?
We are in the process, and we've already started to write. There's 16 people on our committee at the moment. Past presidents, board members, just members, and we're having a lot of fun because so many are new out here, as in Sherry and Sandy and basically Debbie. I guess I've been here 22 years and Miriam's been here 27 years. So yes, we've already started and hope to have it all back to us on April 30th, sent to the publishers and have it ready to sell at the very first KWC meeting in September.
And are you going to sell it or distribute it?
Sell it.
Okay. And what's going to be the sell price?
I'm gonna let Debbie take over the financial part.
We've discussed a couple of different options for sale price, and we may decide to do a pre-sale of $15. That would give us some anticipated amount of interest. And then if you wait until after publication, $20.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone else on the board have any questions of these ladies? Right, Courtney?
Yes. I know I tried to buy the first book 4 or 5 years ago, and it's out of print. Are all the others still available?
There are no books available, and we get that question daily, and I've been getting it forever. How do I get my hands on these books? Everybody loved them. In fact, a lot of realtors bought them to give to the new residents that moved out here. So a few of the people that have lived here have them due to the realtor giving them to them.
We have had discussions about going to the printer to see about republication. So,
Thank you.
but again, this would help us offset some of that because there will be a cost with it.
Yeah, I would like to have a complete set of them. I've got one.
And we are going to start, we want to start with 500 books because the last time Miriam and her committee did it, y'all sold.
Well, in 2013, Peggy Padgett, Joan Carroll, and myself wrote this book, along with Carol Clausing. And at the time, we approached our own board, our KWC board, and asked for the money for that. And they did not feel that they could finance more than 300 copies. So that's what we ordered, 300 copies. But we sold them almost immediately to our own members. And so we went back to the publisher and they said they would give us a discounted price if we wanted to publish 200 more copies. But again, the board did not feel they had the money, our own board, KWC board, to finance that. And at that time, to the best of my knowledge, we did not approach the POA board. But this time, because we feel we need at least 500 copies, we thought we should ask you if you could give us some help.
Also, Miriam, when you take in the money, if the POA is going to contribute money to it, I don't know what the amount is because it doesn't have it on our sheet here. If you have any extra money, where would that go?
Money other than what we need to publish it.
Yeah, let's say we gave you $1,000.
4,500 for half.
Okay. Thank you.
We're going to contribute some money also, Corky, the KWC is. And so whatever money we contribute with whatever money you give us will be the cost of the printing. We won't have any money left over.
Yes. This would be a fundraiser. You're correct. We would make money off of the sales, which we always have. So we sell the books like Debbie was mentioning, probably for $20 a piece. And yes, we would get the profit, because we're also looking at trying to reprint it, maybe coming up with more copies if you run out. Other options, yes, for us to use the money for.
And also in the past, I mean, KWC has been very charitable with the POA when there are special needs. Or, you know, we have new signage last year, they purchased new signage for the library, and what was the other one that you did? But anyhow, I mean, our access, it really goes back to the community and the greater good. So,
I understand. Thank you very much for those answers.
Unless anyone else have any questions? So the sale of this, or the publication of this book, this history, and its subsequent sale is an intention, you intend to raise money for the KWC by that.
Yeah.
So if you make a profit, that would go to the KWC, is that correct? Is that what you,
Which
is that what was
benefit,
done last time?
which goes back to the community.
Goes back into, everything we make at Women's Club has to go back into our KWC or community, which it does. It serves the community for the, yeah, so it's,
Well, it's, you know, like running the money in the past for the.
we've never asked. We've always done it on our own.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mary. You can tell. We've always done it on our own.
To my knowledge, we just, the KWC has funded this on their own
Okay,
in the past.
so why don't you think you can do that again?
Debbie?
Well, the last time we could only fund 300 copies. We wanted to fund 500 copies this time in order to have enough to, even though we will maybe sell them the first year, they would be available, like Dorothy said. He'd like to have a copy of this book now, but there are none available. So in the future, new people that would come to Kiowa would have access to our new book, at least.
Anything,
Okay.
Debbie, you want to add?
So just so I understand, you want the board to approve essentially a donation to the KWC with which you would purchase the book and sell it to whoever. And whatever profit you make, you keep. Is that right?
If there is profit, we hope there would be. There's a risk that there might not be, but we also want to reinvest, like Sandy said, into the cost that we're using the original books.
Oh, yeah, but this doesn't include the reprinting of the original.
Right, so, you know, there are expenses in addition to just the copying of the first one, I'm producing the book.
Okay, you want to say something?
Right.
So we're looking to get money to help us get this printed, the new one printed. It's gonna have information about it's not just women's club, it's about everything in the whole community. Myself, I was fortunate to get one book. I moved out here in 2011. I got one, that one. I would have loved to have had more. There's a lot of people that move in here that are new. They don't have the history of Lake Kiowa. A lot of things that the board wants to get done, people are like, well, I don't know why we need that. But if they read and learn the history of Lake Kiowa, they also learn how much people put in to get this community to be to the part where it is now. And I think having a history book that will be available for people as they move in, not just the year that we're selling it, but to be able to have enough books that as people come in, they can continue to get at least one book, the new book, that will have summaries of the others. And as you read them, you start to understand this community and the sacrifices that were made by the people that started it to get it to the level that it is right now that we all enjoy. So I think that's why it's important to us to want to be able to get this done and do it as a service to the whole community.
Well, I speak for myself, not the board at this point. I certainly agree with what you just said. I think the history of Cotton was very important. And one of the things a lot of newcomers have is, in fact, some board members in the past that don't know or understand what the history was. And I think it affects in some ways, the efficiency of the board not to know what happened in the past and that sort of thing. I'm a real big believer in it. The only reason I'm asking the questions I am is, I'm a little concerned about, since we've never done it before, is fronting the money and you not paying us back if you make a profit. What do you think of that?
We do see this as a donation of some kind, whatever you would like to help out with us publishing the history book, the new history book. That's how we wanted to see it, as a donation. And, because there's so many we want to produce, over 500, and as Debbie said, we might not sell 500.
Oh, I bet you do.
And I would like to think that, that would be so sweet. Everyone's looking forward to it. But if we didn't, we're taking the risk, as Debbie said, we're taking the hit. Excuse me. So
All right.
that was a little of the ask, is to come in and give y'all a chance to see if you would like to help us. If you can, that would be wonderful in some way, form, or fashion. Because what we have in our savings, we have to leave so much in savings just due to our rules and bylaws. So even if we take in money, it will be going out. The 4,500 would be to get it published for 500 books. That's what it would take.
And that is, again, the newest edition.
And
The
then
cost of reproducing it, we still don't know, so.
we would be taking that on, or any extras that we felt we might like to call the publishing company and say we'd like 200 more. That's on us. If it benefits everybody in the community, but the hit's on us.
Let me throw something out, and obviously the board has not discussed this. Would you consider moving the quantity from 500 up to like 750? And the board picking up the initial cost of printing, and then the POA and the women's group here split the profit that you have remaining on that, and that way you would not be out any cost or risk?
I don't see why we can consider that. I mean, it is all for the community, it's all intended to go back to the community. So if we aren't facing the risk alone of just taking money out of our savings account and explaining that to members, which we will have to do in any monetary amount that we agree to fund ourselves. But once that is covered, that expense is recovered and there is additional funds, and they're not earmarked for additional publications, there's no reason why we couldn't go back and say, let's share the profits.
I mean, I'm like John, I think 500 is kind of a lowball estimation of the number of these that you're going to sell, but.
I hope so.
Yeah, I like the way you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But we've had endeavors in the past where we've had extra books, and it might have taken us a couple of years to recoup that cost. And so you just never know. Pre-sale helps answer a lot of those questions.
Larry, I see it a little bit differently. All along, when the Women's Club gets extra funds, they donate many things to buy new things at Lake Kiowa. So I think we get a lot for our money, since the Women's Club in effect gives it back in other ways, be it benches or
Equipment.
We
yeah.
gave
Chairs for the patio. I mean,
2,500 is what we gave last year, I think, and before that, we bought all the patio heaters.
So it's my opinion that the way they originally proposed is the way to go, because from my 28 years here, the Women's Club has given thousands of dollars to the LKPOA by buying things for the POA and for our members.
We have bought kitchen equipment, decorations, Christmas decorations for the front and the everything. I mean, we've done a lot of neat things for the community from our money. and raising it from, things of this sort.
Jennifer, you've done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies, y'all go ahead and take your seats if you like, and you remain until,
Okay.
board, they may have some other questions of you too, just a moment.
Which I can stop.
Bill, you're the buddy man here. What's your opinion about this donation of it?
Now, being married to a woman, as a member of that club, she enjoys very much, and I would like to sleep with her regularly. So I'm thinking that this was a good thing. Now, I'll put my treasurer hat on and say, you know, facts are it's an unbudgeted expense for us. There is no budget for it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to say, okay, it's because if you take 500 at $20, that's $10,000. So we're handling all the risk in this deal, not them. So it makes sense to me that the first $4,492.44 goes back to us and pays this off. And then they get whatever is the profit from there.
Thank you. If we did that, I do have a question though. What do we, budget-wise, how do we explain to the auditor, for example, and the treasurer about spending the money we haven't budgeted?
You just explain it when it comes up on the O&M report, because that's where you'll see it. And
So we'll end up with some kind of a contingency revenue fund or something like that?
no, it's not a contingency, it's an expense.
No, I'm talking about when they pay us back. We're going to give it with expense.
Yeah, we'll just offset, we'll just, whatever account is set for the expenses, but, and Rich will figure that out. Or actually, Chris will. It will just go back to whatever that account is, and then it just nets to zero and everybody's happy. At least the treasurer's happy. Not sure if I was lying.
Grant, you got a position or anything you'd like to say about it?
I think to keep things cleaner, I would just donate the money and let them handle the sales and the profits and how they want to get back to the community later. Just make it with them if they want.
Okay, thank you.
I can have Bill's viewpoint, and he can add it to his treasury report with the investments with the cedars, so we track the dollars are coming back in. That's how you cover the auditor.
So you think it'd be a good idea if we made this donation with the understanding we get our money back off the top, basically? Okay, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I really do appreciate all that the Women's Club does. I feel like if we were just kind of to front the money at this point, there's still an opportunity for the Women's Club to make $4,000 or $5,000, which is maybe not as much as they would if they just did a donation, but I still feel like that's a pretty good win for the Women's Club and also not a big expense for the board or the DOA.
All right, thank you. Larry, anything else more? Courtney, anything else you want to mention? Nancy?
I apologize for not hearing the first of it. How much are you selling them for?
20.
20. Okay, all right. So I'm also in favor of what they've put forward and for us to give that money back. So I heard that we would take all the money up to the 4,400 first, and then the rest would be theirs. That's one option. Right, okay. And the other option is just to provide the 44.
Or another amount.
Thank you. Or another amount. Okay, all right, thank you.
Jennifer, as a spokeswoman, do you, would you have, or would your KWC, as far as you know, have any objection or problem to us basically funding the money and you returning it with the first $4,492.44 to us, and everything else you keep? Oh, and by the way, if you came up short, we would eat the difference if you came up short.
So basically, you're taking all of the risk and we're just returning that. And then the profits would remain into KWC so we can feed them back to the community.
Exactly. I think that's my understanding of what Bill and, Sean were talking about, Tom too. Okay, all right. That seems to be an acceptable solution. Is there a motion to that effect? Bill? You have a motion? Okay, I move that we front the 44.92.44, and then as they sell the books, they would return that to us. And then they get to keep whatever is left over, which should be roughly about $5,500. Okay. And, let me just ask a point about your motion. Well, let me first of all see if we have a second. Do we have a second for this motion? All right, Nancy makes a second. So I have a question. It's your expectation that in your motion that, if it comes up short, we just eat the difference, right? Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any other?
One more clarification. So I like this idea. Let's move forward with it, but just, for record keeping, we probably need to discuss, when, how we're gonna get the payments in. Is it a monthly thing, is it a quarterly thing, is it something like that? So, just to make sure, because I don't expect them every time they sell a boat, that brings $5.
That's why I was saying, I think this is, I would just rather donate the money and let them handle it, and they're gonna get back to the community, we're gonna get it back, so.
Well, all right, yes. But it makes more sense to zero out our over budget. And we trust to give us the money. Right. Well, I'm sure those kind of details to be worked out. So I have a motion to that effect. Do I have a second? Makes a second. Is there any further questions or discussions that be made? Jennifer?
The good probably won't be paid, needed to pay.
The expenses won't start incurring until August.
Probably August, if that, just letting you know,
Okay.
because I know your dear hot runs, so.
And you have to pay the printer, so you need the $4,492
Come
right now, right? Or right when
Not
that's
right
ready.
We're assembling everything, we're meeting with all the groups and gathering their information for the history book. And that's gonna take several months to finish that process.
When that's done, you'll tell us you need the money.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, a second, any further discussion on your board? All right, and all in favor of donating, $4,492.44 to the Lake Kiowa Women's Club under the circumstances in the motion? Not donated. Fronting, okay.
I already wrote down donate.
Yeah, I can take it.
So if that's all right. we'll-
In the minute,
all right,
we're
thank you.
teaching.
All right, so we're gonna front the money. That's the motion. Okay, all those in favor of doing so indicate by raising your hand. All opposed? All right. All right, ladies, you let us know when you need the $4,492.44, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you very
And by
much.
the way, I'm not gonna be on the board next time this board meets, but I sure would like to have some information about how we might get those other 3 history books, either through donation, not by the board, but by members. Or members would express an interest and be willing to pay for them some way. I would love to have.
Yeah, we need to maybe put it in the communique or something and see if it'd be interested.
But I sure would like to have an opportunity to have one.
You got it, John. Keep it in mind.
Okay. All right, that concludes that item of business. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your presentation. The next item of business then is our golf cart barn. You may recall that we considered to provide a rental agreement, a proposed rental agreement, I believe, at the last meeting. And the board asked that certain other language be added. And apparently that language has been added and has been submitted now for action. To consider it a possible action to approve that agreement.
Actually, we did approve it at the last meeting. We approved it, it's in the minutes, it shows that we approved it with the amended language, and the language that's in there is what was amended.
Okay,
So we actually approved it at the last meeting.
so we approved it with the language that the Lake Kiowa Property Owners Association may terminate this agreement.
And is, I
Okay.
think that was a clerical thing that Sean had, so.
Okay, well, I tell you though, even so, let's go ahead and do it again since we got a full blown document here. Rich, you have anything you want to mention about it?
Yeah, sorry for not the explanation, put in the clean copy instead of the edited copy. After we went back and forth, James and I made a couple more changes to the fourth paragraph, clearing up the language, that the other property are parked and or stored. And then the last sentence was cleaned up regarding injury, fire, theft, and damage. So we did some administrative changes to that sentence as well.
So now the golf cart storage rental agreement as presented in the packet is what we're asked to approve. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the golf cart storage rental agreement as contained in your packet? There's a motion from Tom, a second.
Second.
And a second from Nancy. Any comment or questions? All those in favor indicate by raising your hand. All opposed, motion carries. All right, now we move to the next item is the community management report. And Rich, you can take that pretty much in any order that you want.
Well, I'll start off just like it's written. Just wanted to touch base on demolition of log cabin. That's been completed, leaving it as is for now. We'll seed it and sod it, or just seed it, as the year goes, first with ryegrass and then, Bermuda. Just wanted to note that, final cost came in at just under $15,000. So did it as fairly as cheap as we could. Also had some, questions regarding about it, during this time period. What happened to the log cabin? Why was it demo? Why was it raised? I thought it was weeds for this or that. Don't know what, want to put an announcement out or an article in the following communique, kind of explaining it all. It seems, people weren't at the board meetings and they don't know all our conversations about it. Maybe put some clarification out to the public.
Is this what you recommend doing?
Yes, I do.
Well, I suggest maybe you propose what the language of that release ought to be and circulate it. Either I, if I'm still president at that time, or whoever the next president will be, could approve it on its own. I don't think it requires more board action necessarily. Okay.
All right, I'll send it out as soon as possible. And then, likewise, the other announcement went out regarding the initiation fee. Really haven't heard too much feedback about that. I think some people, as we knew, really are for it, but really not too much negative feedback, just kind of processing it and getting it initiated.
All right, good. That's good to know. I noticed that we had some kind of a really, it's amazing to me what it costs for peer review. The request for approval of funds to repair the damaged security.
I'd like to hit the first item though, which is funds for a covered smoker and trailer.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
And I'll let Jeremy speak on that, if you'd like to.
Hello, everyone. How are y'all?
Jeremy.
Reach, the assistant community manager out here. I just want to say thank y'all for welcoming me in, and it's been a pleasure being here for the month and a half that I've been here. What I'm requesting is a smoker to be able to use for the lodge for all the events that we're going to have in 2024 and way into the future. Smoker will last around 10 to 15 years. And the ROI on it is going to be substantial to be able to, just bring the community together to be able to have good food at all the events that we're going to be running.
So you want to have any questions for Jeremy? John?
Hey, Jeremy, just want to echo John's comments at the beginning. I've heard nothing but great things about your work. It's live. It's been really good, food and service. But no one likes barbecue more than me. I barbecue myself. I'm just kind of wondering if you've done any thoughts about like the active practicalities of running the smoker. Just because lots of times you see people buy these expensive smokers and just kind of sit there without use. And I just, from experience, I know it takes a lot of manpower to like actually run the smoker. And we already are having issues at the lodge, just like getting staff to show up. So do you have a plan to like who's going to be actually out there like running the smoker? And is there like what are your ideas like how this would increase revenue? Are you thinking like renting it out to members or just using it solely dedicated by the lodge, or what are some of your ideas?
Yeah, so some of my ideas No, absolutely. Those are all, valid questions. Even if I need to get out there and run a smoker for daily features, weekly features, whatever it may be, for all the big events, I have hired on a kitchen manager that, he knows the background of smoking as well. We are, like you said, trying to build a team, and we are, still understaffed. That's something that I feel good about, being able to bring more staff on. Just what we started off with, all of the features and everything, even if we just use it for the features that we're running weekly, and I think it can be a really good payoff. They're really good. Raise your hands if you like barbecue. I mean, it is one of those things. I think it could be really good, and it'll last a long time. It's not a bad idea what you said about possibly renting it out to homeowners. I don't know how that would work, but I think that it will give plenty of use from the lodge.
Nancy, you have a question?
So Jeremy, can you describe for everybody what it would look like and about how long it would be and that kind of stuff?
So it's a 18-foot dual tandem trailer. It's a 500-gallon reverse flow smoker with a holding temp rack that has six racks in it. And then we also, it'll have a half Santa Maria grill on the back. So half Santa Maria and then half regular grill with a griddle, as well as a little fish fry as well. So, I mean, to be able to get this grill for the price that we're getting it for, I think is a really good option.
So how many burgers do you think you can cook on it at one time and that kind of stuff? And those racks allow you to do what? Store it up there and heat it and stuff like that? Okay.
Yes, and the racks we'll be able to fit 8 200 pans, which would hold at least around 400 burgers. I think it would, start about 45 minutes early. You can get those burgers done pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, I've used them in the past in my old community, and it worked really well for all the 4th of July, Memorial Day, all the events that we did. We used that smoker for one thing. People coming off the golf course and they smell that smoke, they get excited about what might be cooking. So I just think it's a win-win, and I hope that we can get it.
Where would you put it?
We would hold it in the back.
Okay. What, over here by the playground?
Yes, sir.
What would you do to prevent people from approaching that smoker while it's going? I mean, what, we need to build a fence around it, or what?
I don't think it would be necessary. We can come off if we needed to.
That's some child running up and putting their hand on it or something, just a consideration. No.
No, absolutely. And I think we would make sure that, like you said, we'd want to keep it manned as best as possible. But being able to pull it around in all the different destinations, possibly the East Beach, to do some fun stuff. Over at the Crow Shop as the MGA is checking in. Maybe for demo days at the driving range, just to be able to use all the different areas on the community. I think it would be nice to have a trailer smoker.
See, now I interrupt your follow-up question. Okay.
Jeremy, is the $1,000 discount, is that included? Is that already reflected in the total $2,000 price, or would it be 9 or 8?
We'll probably need that for shipment. He thinks that he can get it to us for a little bit cheaper than that, but it wouldn't exceed 10,000. And that's with the covered smoker. If we decided not to go covered, it would be 1,500 less.
So can you make the burritos for 4th of July?
Absolutely. We'll make sure that we have plenty.
So, in feeding on that, one of the things that we did discuss in our celebration meeting in regards to how would we leverage something like that in an event. So for instance, 4th of July, perfect place to park would be at the Pro Shop, and that's where everybody can get their breakfast tacos and burritos and things like that. They don't have to run all the way down to the lodge. And so because it's movable, then that allows you that option to be able to move it around and put it in whatever venue you wanted to do so. So it just gives us lots of options to be able to do things. And And one of the things that, the feedback that you get from a celebration perspective when you do an event is the fact that we don't do a really good job of leveraging our lodge and the food that we have or the opportunity to make revenue off of that. July 4th, look, this last year, we made $4,700 in food sales. We probably could have doubled that if we had been able to keep up with the demand. And so just as Jeremy just said, you have 300 or 400 hamburgers out there ready to go or able to be able to move them pretty quickly, then it probably does pay for itself very quickly.
Just looking online and trying to pair up what I'm reading with what I'm looking at, it's kind of hard for me to visualize what we're talking about.
Sure.
So, I'm not sure I'm ready to, I kind of like the idea, but without seeing, pictures and understanding what that is, maybe that's something we can.
The video under 911.
Because some of them are really fancy, look like something you would, take to a barbecue competition, and some of them were basic with a couple of umbrellas over them. So that's.
Okay, so this is a 300-gallon smoker, so ours would be a little bit bigger than this, but this would be the start of it, in their warehouse.
What's the finished product?
What's the finished product?
You got the video on?
What is, oh yeah, I see one here.
But it does, it does look like a competition smoker. This is a lot smaller version, but it's gonna have the exact same style doors. They're gonna come out just like that. The reason behind that, it's a little bit lighter for someone to, when they're raising it up, they come out like that. This is gonna be the grill on the back side. Okay, so it's gonna be larger than that, as well as a grill and a fish fry. But that would be the finished product. But twice as big.
I kind of like the idea, I don't like the way that looks. I know that, I'm just saying, it's gonna look like a trailer park behind our lodge. And if we're looking at making this a nicer place, I don't want a trailer park behind the lodge. I'm just saying, so if that's what it looks like when it's done, I think we need to reconsider.
With racing stripes on it or something.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Tom. Anyone else have any questions, Jeremy? For someone, is that you back there?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jeremy, would you hand that microphone to me, please?
Pete Mason, lot 710. My only concern or question is, can this thing do brisket? Because if that is, if it can do brisket, then I think should be a done deal.
Me too.
Okay. All right, we have another question back there. Jeremy, if you don't mind, filling the microphone for us, thank you.
Carol Blair, lot 1374, and I'm on the Lodge and Tavern Committee. So we had a meeting about this and talked about it extensively. I think Nancy hit it on the head. There's too many things that happen here that we either go get a food truck to come in or have to go to Dieter's, that's terrible to say, but get the barbecue or anything. If we had something like this, then we wouldn't have to do that. And we're talking about an ROI on this, and hopefully we can recoup it in 1 to 2 years. I think we'll be close to 1 because of all the things. July 4th of all things would help us to do this. As to the aesthetics of it, it's a cooker. It is, and that's what it is. And I think as long as it's something that we are giving back to the community and giving them back to the price they can afford, then I think that our Lodge and Tavern committee all agree this is something that we should be brought before the board.
I'd love to see the ROI people talked about. I'd love to see an ROI that people talked about, a return on investment. Let's see what it looks like.
I don't know what the answer to that question is, but it would be nice to know whether we'd be worth our money. Is that what you're basically, we're gonna make this expenditure? Anybody else have any comments or questions of Jeremy before we discuss it further among ourselves? Okay, thanks, Jeremy. We appreciate your presentation. Were you here for the kudos? We said nice things about you? Okay, good. We'll be sure. Okay, what other comments do we have from any of the board members about, this potential purchase? Larry?
Evening, are we requesting, a return on investment presentation at some point in the future? Is that?
I have the impression that we're really just, I had to use the word speculating, but expecting, that we'll be able to sell products from this apparatus to people, and members who want it. Want to buy hamburgers or brisket or whatever it is.
No formal request then, is that?
Well, so far, there's been no mention and there's no documentation about a return on investment in our packet. And not only do we think about that, and obviously neither does any other board members. And the question is, really just, do we want to approve the purchase of this smoker, this amount of money or not? So that's really the issue. I do think there are other concerns and maybe we, I don't know, maybe if you want to, we could postpone it for more information and consider it at a later board meeting, or go ahead and handle it now. That requires the agreement of the board to do differently, so. We're just discussing it among the board now. We're closing comments for that purpose. Courtney, do you have any questions or anything to say?
I think it's a great idea. Love barbecue, and that would cause me to come up here and use it, yeah. And I don't have any doubt in my mind, running hundreds of food activities in my career. And we generally had a barbecue wagon of some sort. I'll say every military base with over 5,000 troops, where we could take it out to their celebrations, the 4th Battalion or whatever. It was probably used, I would say 40, 50 times a year, and we certainly made money on it.
Anyone else have any comments before I ask for a motion? Bill? I think it would be interesting. Maybe we can.
Price is a selling feature for doing this, so.
Right.
Okay. What is it?
Yeah. Well, would you be in favor of postponing this decision for another time until that information is available and, or not?
Well, if we get that, the next opportunity is, sometime in the third week of March. Can we still get it?
Terry, can we still get it at that price in March?
So I did talk with them this morning. That's when they start to get busy, just for the season. But I mean, we might not get it in time for the 4th of July, but we could still get it eventually. Absolutely. It just might take more time than if we were to get it right now.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else have another question before we? All right, is there a motion to purchase this smoker, 500-gallon smoker with trailer or trailer in the sum of not more than $10,000? I have a motion from Courtney and a second from Maria. Are there any comments or questions or amendments to be offered to the motion? I beg your pardon? Carr? Okay, yeah. From Carr. I'll add that. Somebody might care to make that motion. We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion or comments? All right, all in favor of the motion indicate by raising your hand. All opposed? We have one opposition, otherwise the motion is passed Okay, Jeremy, thank you. Let's see, what do you want to take up next, Rich?
Next is the, vehicle repair.
Okay,
In your packet, you'll see some pictures and a report from security about a one vehicle accident, security officer in his truck hitting the pole, and an estimate for just under $5,200 for the repair. Asking for the O&M funds to repair this vehicle. Not budgeted,
okay, and what was the amount again?
$5,184.24.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you could have a deductible. And then if somebody hurt our insurance rates go up.
It shouldn't be, it's not a collision.
Wait, so step one, the truck's insured, right?
That is correct. I'll
Step
let Chris
two,
look at it.
what's the deductible?
I think we're at $2,000 or something. I'll ask Chris.
Or deductible under this, yes, it is.
That's correct.
Okay, and I guess question 3 is, do we have any idea if we were to make a claim, what the increase in our premium would be, if anything?
I'll get specifics, but the advice from Crystal was just to get it fixed.
All right, Sean raises a good point here, but, we're being asked to spend the entire amount of money. What would we do? Ask for reimbursement from our insurance company, or how would that work, Rich?
Simply, we would simply file a claim and pay the deductible.
Okay, well, that being the case, I wondered, with Sean, whether or not that would increase our insurance and how much. Did we find that out? Or,
Possibly some would be stuck with it, but yeah.
And I guess the alternative would be just to not fix it. Do the doors still function? It is a theoretical option. I mean, we don't have to go with it, but
I know the step on the running board's bent, they probably ought to be straightened out. Okay. Well, I think all those are valid considerations. I guess really I think maybe a threshold question is whether or not we want to submit this as an insurance claim or not. And
If I was doing it at home.
Well, I'll get the details. Talking to Crystal, she said not to, so.
So is this on the mutual policy, just covering that policy?
I believe so.
Okay, so if you claim on mutual policy, they look at your claims and they will reduce your dividends by an amount close to that. So pay me now, pay me later kind of thing. I think that's what Crystal's trying to tell us.
So, that being the case, you think it's a good idea to pay the entire amount for the repair of the vehicle, we decide to repair it?
Probably. Okay. I haven't talked to Crystal, so I'm supposing it's that policy, and if it's that, then. Okay, because we got like 9,000 dividend last year, or this year.
All right, does anyone else on the board have any comments about it, Tom?
and we get quotes from more than one place, or just do we go to one place?
Got too close.
Two quotes are basically the same.
So what's the life expectancy of a security truck? I know it's a 22 model. How long do they tell you to be driven?
Due to the mileage, we usually every 3 years.
So is that like one more year?
I believe so. Next year, yeah.
Are they demoted to work trucks or just auction?
Pardon?
Or would it be demoted to like a
No,
work truck? Or
it gets
just
traded in. We trade them in.
According to the last reserve study we had done there 15 years.
That's correct. We're still working on it.
They are Toyotas after all.
I believe they're, I believe, over 70,000 miles.
70,000 miles.
70,000 miles, not very much. For Toyota. No, I don't sell them. Never have. Well, I'm sure drive them. So, let's, does anybody have any motion you want to make with regard to payment for this, repair of this vehicle? relative. Yes.
It would give a little more information, so we are making a little bit more informed decision in regard to our insurance and deductibles and if we have 1 year left and that kind of stuff.
Was it what y'all want to do? You want to wait and get more information and consider it in another board meeting? Why don't we go ahead and approve it, and then we can do the research in the meantime and make sure that we're going down the right road, okay? So, do you care to make a motion to that effect, that we pay this sum of money, with further consideration? Anyone have a motion regarding this repair?
Did I say motion that somebody could approve?
Yeah, we just want to meet, well, if the board doesn't care to act on it, we just won't act on it. We'll move it on to next time it's brought up, if it ever is.
It's driving around out in the community right now looking like that. I don't think that should go on very long, so I'll make a motion to approve the expense to fix the car. I would like more information about the insurance. I think we pay for our insurance for a reason, probably need to figure out if we can use the insurance. But I would like the car fixed.
Okay.
I can, in the research, I'll clarify the numbers with Crystal, and then I can inform you of it.
All right. So we have that motion. Is there a second? Bill seconds. Any further discussion, the questions to be made?
I just want to make sense of what I'm writing.
Okay.
But more information to follow. We want it fixed.
Who's gonna make the decision?
I think that would be an appropriate thing to do for the community. All right, all in favor then of the motion, please indicate by raising your hand. All opposed, there being none, the motion carries. Let's see here. Next, we have for Public Works, a request to approve from an ARP funding expenditure to replace a skid steer bucket graveler ahead of schedule as recommended by the Ways and Means Committee. Rich, you want to speak to that?
Yes, we've used this bucket for about 3 years now. It's not as thick material. It's not braced well. We welded it. We welded braces. You can even see in the pictures from the demolition of a log house, if you look at the bucket, you'll see it actually buckling and bending. So it can't keep the straight edge. And it's been breaking on us. We've been repairing and welding it ourselves. Proposing purchasing a more industrial strength bucket grappler, and hopefully it'll last much longer. This one is due to be repaired in 2029, and again, the funds aren't sufficient, so we're moving the purchase forward. I do have some other items that I can move out, and so the budget for this year won't be affected.
Bill, as member of Ways and Means Committee, that committee approves this expenditure from ARP?
Yes, it does.
Then I'll move to purchase the skid steer gravel bucket as indicated in our packet for a sum, including tax and shipping, not to exceed $4,500. Is that the amount, right, Rich?
That's correct.
Okay. That's my motion. Is there a second? Rhea seconds the motion. Any further questions or discussion?
Just for clarification purposes, the reason why it needs a vote is because it's not in this current year's ARP budget. It's been moved from future years into this year. That's why it needs a vote.
I understood that from you, but thanks for clarification. All right, all in favor then of purchasing this gravel bucket attachment, indicate by raising your hand. And all those opposed? No one in opposition. The motion carries to purchase this item for an amount not to exceed $4,500, which includes tax and shipping. Next item then is lake management recruits, a request to approve the lake management reserve funds to continue or complete the erosion control at low water crossing number 2 per the, LMRF funding schedule.
Yes, that's correct. This is reviewed by Ways and Means as well. It's been under discussion for a while. It was on this budget schedule that we supplied during our process. We've done I guess the west side of low water 2. We'll complete the east side. And then we have some consultant fees for Dredge Smart, where we'll actually continue building weirs up Indian Creek as well. So that should pretty much use up the remaining funds of the $20,000.
Let me clarify, so the total amount you want us to authorize to expend is $4,000?
No, the 20,000. I was just giving a little more detail on the expenditure.
Okay, the $4,000 matter that appears in our packet just has to do with some of the consulting diagram.
That'll be part of the 20,000. The other part will be riprap, rock, and labor.
Okay, so the idea then is to spend $20,000 from the Lake Management Reserve Fund for this purpose.
That is correct.
Okay. Is there a motion to be made about expending this sum of not more than $20,000 from the Lake Management Reserve Fund for the purpose of dredging and consultations and so forth? A motion to that?
I move that we spend $20,000 from the Lake Management Reserve Fund for additional silt control at low water crossing 2.
All right, much better. Is there a second? All right, Nancy seconds. Any else, anybody have any questions or comments they care to make? Okay, all, yes, Corey.
Yeah, I have just a couple of comments or questions. I know I read some places where we're going to enlarge the silt basin at number 2, but I don't recall ever seeing that come before the board. Can you tell us what that is?
That's actually some of the detail I was talking about. We're going to actually do weirs along Indian Creek instead of actually increasing the size of low water 2. So as we go up Indian Creek, we'll create sections to remove silt from before it gets into the pond. That's the idea right there.
Okay. I was just thinking of a bigger circle, so I just misunderstood. Thank you.
No, that was reviewed, and again, trying to remove the silt in the current ponds, getting a 70-foot long reach, you still can't reach across. So increasing the size of the silt pond would actually increase the difficulty of getting the silt out.
Understand. Thank you very much, Rich.
Anyone else have any questions? All those in favor of this expenditure indicate the motion. Raise your hand if you approve. And those opposed, being none, the motion carries. The next item is the consideration and possible approval of funds for an advanced management course for the community manager. You have your notes in the packet. I'll tell you that since this time, Rich and I have met with Dr. McDonald and asked him a number of questions and a lot of clarifications. Essentially, and you will see in your packet, essentially what the program structure is, what the program fee would be, and the program term, which will be determined by the client on 30 days notice of this continuing service required. This would be a $900 a month expenditure, with also a one-time $300 leadership circle profile fee, which may be payable sometime during the period of this advanced management course. I think many of my questions were answered. Rich asked a lot of important questions, and Dr. McDonald very forthcoming about how this would work. Rich, do you care to make any comment regarding the course?
No, in favor. I think of the advisory, and you'll all be involved as well to some degree. First step would be sending out a questionnaire to all of you, as well as some other people, to get feedback and get direction.
is it's going to be a pretty extensive involvement with other people who, have, contact with and in relationship with Rich by virtue of our position at Lake Kiowa and the POA. Rich, I would be tempted to suggest that we do this for 6 months. That'd be $5,400 plus the $300 leadership fee, which would be $5,700. And then let the board at that time, or you, let us know whether we should continue beyond that point. Would that be a satisfactory thing from your point of view?
I think it's a good initial timeline, see what the results are.
All right, okay. All right, then, anybody have any questions about this so far?
Are we allowed to speak? Can we ask questions or not really?
No, ma'am. I'm gonna have an opportunity for public comment though in just a minute, but right now the board's going to take care of this business. I would move then that we approve a sum of $5,700 for a 6-month period to pay for a 6-month period of this advanced management course for Rich, with the understanding that we can terminate at any time upon 30 days notice to Dr. McDonald. That'd be my motion. Is there a second? Seconds the motion. Anybody have any further discussion or questions of me or Rich, either one? All right, back there, you have a question you want to ask?
Well, no, because you guys just voted on it. I'm just sitting here going, you're gonna spend $900 a month, $5,700 for training for a person that you've already hired to be our community manager, and it just blows my mind that you're gonna spend that kind of money when there are so many other projects with the dam and all of those things. And so you've already done it. It's done. So I just.
Okay, well, that's one of the things we get paid for is establishing the priorities of what our different projects and programs are going to be. We have a motion and then we have a second. And is there any further questions by the board or any other comments by the board members? All in favor then of approving, I'm sorry. Right, Leah?
I would just like to say, I guess for clarification for anybody out there, we hired Rich because he was already here. You know, we like Rich and, you know, everything that he does for the community. We are investing in him so that he stays, so that we don't have to hire another community manager. We want this to be something that lasts a long time. So anything we can do to make his job better, get him to learn, it's gonna be a success for us.
All right, thank you for that clarification. All those in favor then of the motion, please, okay, we've done that already, haven't we? We just did the vote, didn't we? Sorry about that. I was still getting comments, forgot. My apologies. Okay, that seems to conclude the issues regarding the community management. No, okay, I am confused, aren't I? All those in favor then of approving this agreement with respect to the advanced management course for Rich as indicated, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, all opposed. There being no one in opposition, and therefore the motion passes. And Rich, you just handle the details and let us know what the board can do to help. And especially if you ever think it ought to be terminated, be sure to let us know that too. All right, the next item then is additional business. Does any member of the board have additional business that we should talk about and perhaps place on a future agenda? All right, there doesn't seem to be any additional business, so now is an opportunity for the members who are still in the audience to make any comments care to make. And Rich will provide you with a microphone, and if you'll tell us your name and lot number, we'll be glad to hear what you have to say. Anyone have any comments they care to make tonight? All right.
Yes.
There will be no comments from members that we, I'm sorry, we do have some.
Stand up, man, they can't see you.
Thanks, Rich, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that, I think it's a wonderful idea to have the manager have an educational course. Education is the best thing for everybody. And I think that that will help him in his job, and it will help all of us. So I think it's well worth the money.
Thank you.
I'm just really excited that y'all approved the barbecue thing. I was one of those that stood in line with grandkids and kids and trying to work the cakewalk and trying to get a ham and couldn't get one because they were out, and they were always out, and we're waiting in long lines in that 150 million degree heat. So to me, I think it's gonna be a plus, especially for the job. Especially.
Anyone else have any comments they care to make?
I do.
All right,
Excuse me, Jennifer,
Yes, ma'am.
what's your lot number?
1303.
Thank you. And Marion, what's your lot?
278, sorry.
278?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. And 13 what?
03.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody forget that number.
all right, anyone else? Last call. All right, there being no further comments, then I propose that we move to executive session after a recess of 10 minutes. And is there any objection from anyone on the board for that recessing to executive session? There being none, then we are in recess for 10 minutes and we'll reconvene in executive session.
No, I just think that, and I don't know that we necessarily put the names in the minutes, I just think that you can authorize, staff to pursue enforcement of criminal matters.
You put him in the Portland Law School.
Is there any movement at all on the, I know it's covered by insurance, they're doing all the work on it, but on the fatality from
They haven't been consulting me. Have they given you any updates on the?
I believe that's all settled.
I can look it up and.
I was just curious, I know it's a process.
The last time I heard, they had to appoint an ad litem because they settled with the kids and gave a little money to the ex for him to go away, but the real money was going to the children, which requires a friendly suit. And the last I was informed, they were in the process of getting the ad litem to approve the settlement and then having the friendly suit hearing. And I can check online to see if it's still there, so I can update you next month for sure. I'll make myself aware.
I would just, yeah, I'd kind of like to know that might be.
That's insurance companies.
Yes, the insurance defense lawyers handling all of that, and they've been talking directly to the front office. They haven't even really been talking to me, but I can look it up online and give you the answer if that's not right.
All right, anything else that we need to cover in executive session that we fall within our agenda? All right, and if there's no objection, I propose that we move back to open session. Is there any objection to the open session? Being no objection, we will now reconvene in open session. To summarize the executive session, after consideration, the board of directors reversed potential control committee decision. Number two, authorized staff to begin enforcement actions regarding an AC architectural control handbook violation. And proceeding in that regard. And third, consulting with our attorney regarding legal matters affecting LKP. Anybody want to add anything to that summary or have any dispute about it? Okay. The action we need to take here is I move to authorize the staff to begin enforcement actions regarding a violation of the architectural control handbook. I want to make that motion as adequate. Everybody think that's okay? All right. I will. At the board, the motion is to authorize the staff from the LKPOA to begin enforcement actions for a architectural control handbook violation and authorizing proceeding. So motion for a second, that motion. I'll make a second. All in favor of, authorizing the staff to do that enforcement actions indicated, raise your hand. All right, the board so approves, and the next item is, I propose to adjourn. If there's no objection, is there any objection to adjourn? Okay, this is my last official act at a regular meeting. This meeting is adjourned.